Thanks for your patience, guys. We'll get started, I guess. I should have made it 6 o'clock, I reckon. Bit of feedback, group feedback at 6 o'clock, Debra, for this?
I mean, we're all here.
We're all here. The truly committed are here on time. I apologise if you're a bit crammed in. We nearly made the snap call last night to split into 2 groups, but we workshopped it, and then that little flashing light on the aircon is not supposed to do that, so it's actually not operating the way it's supposed to, so hopefully it doesn't get too warm in here. But thank you all for coming. My name is Jared McCarthy. I'm the licensee of Harcourts Community. I'm joined by some of my friends and colleagues from Harcourts who are here for support tonight and to assist making the night run smoothly. A bit of housekeeping. The bathrooms are sort of just straight down the way there past the bookshelf. There's snacks and drinks outside there, so anytime you need to get up and move around, it's pretty informal sort of setting here. Just don't be shy, just make a move if you need to. But with that, we will get started. I'll turn the music all the way down. And let's look at our purpose for being here. Why are we spending this Thursday night together instead of with our loved ones? So the purpose that I see for tonight, so first and foremost, I want to provide you with as much useful information as I can about the industry, whatever your purpose for being here. So some of you may be just somewhat curious about what agents do for a living and how the industry actually works. Some of you may be considering getting started in the industry, and this is your way of determining if it's right for you or not. And some of you just may be absolutely hell-bent on market domination and crush everyone in your pathway, and this is just the first step of many to achieve your goals. So wherever you sit in that, I'm totally cool, and I hope there's some value you can bring from this, where you might learn a few things. So the other purpose that we have is that we are looking for candidates to join our team. We are a business on the grow, and we're not shy about that. We've got ambitions to increase our footprint across the Sunshine Coast. We're big believers in what we do and how we go about things. So we'd like to bring some like-minded people in to help on that mission. So we'll talk a bit about that as we get going. So our agenda for the evening, things that we're going to cover are these things. So we're going to look at a brief background on us, a bit about my time in the industry and how that has progressed to this point now and who we are as a group. We're going to look at some of the misconceptions versus the reality, just address some of those up front. They're the things I like to dig into and sort of just, I guess, shed some light on what people don't realise that they're getting themselves into with real estate until they get started and find out. We're going to look at what we love about the job. We're going to talk about how you get qualified. We're going to look at what a transaction looks like when you're in the throes of selling from start to finish and all the fun we get to have along the way. We're going to look at a bit of a blueprint for success and what that looks like, address where it goes wrong, different ways you can enter the industry, talk about what we're looking for, what working with us looks like. We're going to do a Q&A panel with a couple of first-year agents where we get to ask them some questions about how they've found things, and then we'll just be open for questions at the end. So if something comes up you want to run past us, maybe park it mentally or write a note, we can address it at the end because the chances are we might cover it along the way. So we'll get started. First thing, a brief overview of, I guess, my time in the industry and how I got to be here. I started in 2005 and I look like that.
Sorry.
I didn't have pause for laughter in my agenda, but if you like. I was 22, which yes, it makes me 41. Of course this year, I know you're thinking he looks mid-50s, but I'm 41. And, my first year was pretty rough. It was 2005, it was post-boom, the big boom of the early 2000s. But I was young and eager. I got my salesperson certificate and I just door knocked up and down the main street of Buderim looking for someone to give me a job. And the fourth door I knocked on, he said, you work for me now, and chucked the rest of my resumes in the bin. He just liked my sort of proactive approach to getting work. And then it was, my first year was pretty tough, as a lot of first years are. I found it difficult. I was 22, none of my friends were in real estate or owned property, so it's very much just starting from scratch and building my own database and building relationships. In my first year, I took 9 months to sell my first property, and it was a real grind. And I sold my second one, I think, at month 11, my third in month 13. So it was a very challenging time, a lot of self-doubt, all the challenges that come with, am I right for this? Is this, clearly I'm failing. It can be pretty typical of what a first year can look like, but I just persevered and had the resilience to sort of overcome that and keep going. By into my second year, going back to my first year, I just door knocked like a maniac. I had nothing else to do. I had no listings, no clients. I just went out and knocked on doors. Very unscientific. Hello, my name is Jared. I'm from Realway at the time. Are you thinking of selling? Yes, no. Okay, would you like an appraisal anyway? Yeah, sure, come have a look. So I was doing, dozens of appraisals a week for no real purpose and just to provide people with market updates. In my second year, just off doing that, and real estate is a business where you do talk about figures and numbers. I think it's important to know. My second year, I brought in $237,000 in revenue to the business, which means my take-home pay was about $120,000 in my second year. And for a 23-year-old in 2006, it looks like being a millionaire. Like, it was crazy money back then. And due to that, I was able to buy my first house. I was able to go on some holidays. And then at the conclusion of my third year, my boss was retiring. I said, I'm out. And I bought the business at 25, which was a really naive decision. I was not equipped for it. And I quickly found out that, like, the Venn diagram of like skills to be an agent and skills to run an agency, there's no overlap. They're just different things entirely. So also around, that's me, my girlfriend at the time, which is a really funny way of talking about your current wife, but she was my girlfriend at the time anyway. And in 2008, there was talks of this GFC that people were talking about, that the market was starting to, grab a seat here if you like, wherever you're comfortable.
Thank you.
So we bought the business in July 2008. I think next month Lehman Brothers collapsed and just all hell broke loose in terms of the market activity, the economy and everything. So my first few years were just not a whole lot of fun. It was horrendous. So we lost so much money and we were just in financial peril daily, just trying to keep the doors open. And it was a very challenging time. And the likes of stress I've never want to experience again. It was a very difficult thing to get through. Going to work every day with your sole focus to try and keep the doors open and not, be ruined financially. So it was a really challenging time, but tangent, and I'll keep going different tangents. The support of loved ones is really important in this industry because you will have ups and downs. So how good your support network is, whether they're partners or family or friends or brothers and sisters, you can lean on them a lot because you will have challenges through the biz, which we'll talk about as we get through it. Just through perseverance and some good fortune and quickly upskilling, we just had some years of stability. That's just a photo of me looking smart. I couldn't find anything else that really fit the theme, but we just stopped losing money there. So that was like all I could try and do was just stop losing so much money, and we just managed to get by, find some stability in our business, grow a bit of the team. And then we had a big shift in our business in 2016. We rebranded to the Harcourts group. So I was working under a different group called Realway, which is more like a small boutique kind of a brand. They were quite big in the early 2000s, but were slowly fading from the landscape. And I decided the vehicle that I wanted to make my business grow was with another brand. So I did some research around different brands that weren't in Budrum but would want to be. I spoke to 4 of the major brands, and Harcourts stood out like head and shoulders above all the competitors with what I was looking for. So that's my wife, and we multiplied by that stage in 2016 when we took a left turn and rebranded to Harcourts, which was probably one of the best decisions I've made for my business, for reasons I'll get into again shortly as well. We started to see some performance in the business by this time. In 2001, we got rid of the kids, and we bought this building here. So that was a huge milestone again in our business. So it looks different to what it is now. We spent a year renovating it and moved into it about 2 years ago now. And we just love this workspace. It's great to work from. We really enjoy it. A lot of breakout spaces, really comfortable working environment. So that was a major milestone. Then 2003, we had a slight rebrand. We were Harcourts Budrum. We changed our name to Harcourts Community as our franchise for 2 main reasons. We just found that although we do a fair bit of sales in Budrum, it wasn't really reflective of our footprint across the Sunshine Coast. Like, most of our sales were from outside of Budrum. So we thought that by changing the brand, it wouldn't inhibit us from generating business in other areas. And we found since that change, no one questions where you work from or where your office is. You just Harcourts Community servicing the Sunshine Coast. So we find we comfortably cover a footprint right across the Sunshine Coast under that brand. And also, community was definitely a real reflection of our values. We really value being a part of this local community. We all benefit individually and collectively from different groups that we are a part of and contribute to. So it was a bit of a no-brainer for us. And then we incorporated a new business, which is Harcourts Palmview, which is a joint venture between my sister Lauren and I. Lauren's worked with me for all of that 19 years in different roles. She's had a very successful few years in sales, in Palmview specifically, and we've gone into a new business, doors open, I think in 3 weeks or so, on that office, which is exciting for us to have that new venture together. So there's a lot of ups and downs in between there, a lot of different things that happen, but yeah, I guess the major milestones for us and what we've gone through over the years. Cool. Who we are now is this. So we operate a support team with Sandy, who's some you might have already met. I'm not sure if you've worked in a workplace before. There's one person that holds everything together. That's Sandy for us. And if Sandy left, everyone's leaving. So I'm in absolute peril. So, and Tyler too, I suppose. We have Julia, who's our marketing manager and CEO of Snacks as well. She's the person to see about Snacks. And there is Tyler, who's our administrator, and I'm the principal licensee of both Budger and Palmview, and Lauren, who is our joint Palmview licensee. We look after a sales team comprising of these people, and our time is devoted to making sure we can be as supportive in their journey for success as we can. We also have a Budgeroom property management department, which is operated by these people. We have a BDM, business development manager, Jessica Liddell. She's responsible for bringing on new managements into the business and growing our rental department. We have Danica, who is here tonight, who is sales support for Lauren in our Palmview business, and Chelsea, who heads up our Palmview property management department. So the support team look after everyone in terms of where people work. Everyone on this side is Budgeroom, and then the few at that end are Palmview based. So that's who we are today. I was going to do a fun little grey thing with a question mark about could this be you next, but it just would seem really corny, so I deleted it before I settled on it. So let's get into some of the misconceptions versus the realities of the job. And one thing that is interesting to observe about real estate is it's a very low benchmark to get into. It's relatively easy. I'm sure some of you are doing the course. It's a week's course and you're qualified to sell $2 and $3 million assets. It's kind of crazy, but it has a very high threshold for success and an extremely high failure rate. And I think this is unnecessary. So I think it's largely due to just a gap in the knowledge of what the job is. So I think what a waste of time and effort and money for people to sort of go through all the effort of getting qualified only to find out what the job is all about. I'd much rather be useful and give you that information up front so you know if it's something you want to pursue. So a lot of the misconceptions are born out of the fact that we're only really seen by the public at the pointy end. You see us when we're doing open homes, when we're out there signing contracts and you're doing all the fun stuff out there in the field. And also the worst at agents on social media. If you follow any, I'm sure you get the idea that they give the impression of what the job is like, which is not entirely true. So you're kind of seeing the pointy end of the wedge and seeing what we're doing at this end. But in reality, it's just non-stop grinding. You're on the phone here trying to just generate opportunities most of the time. And that's what you don't see. It's not that glamorous. You are here trying to create opportunities, trying to get people's doors, trying to provide listing updates, market updates, I should say, and trying to generate listings. So, make no mistake, there is times when it's fun when you're out there in the field and enjoying all those client-facing activities, but by and large, you're in here on the phones just trying to create opportunities for yourself, which is the biggest part of the job. There's also a big gap in what people think sort of skills you need to have to be successful versus what I've found in my time. And the things that people often come to me and say, I'd be great at real estate because I love property, I'm great with people, and I'm a natural salesperson. Well, I think loving property is kind of, yeah, that's sort of required. Yeah, of course you're going to be good with people. If you're not, you're in trouble. And no one really likes a natural salesperson. I think, rolling out a well-rehearsed line kind of gives people the ick a bit, people want authentic people. They want to feel like they're talking to a friend the same way you would at the barbecue. So don't feel stressed that you don't have sales skills. I think they're highly overrated. Just be yourself and communicate the way you would anyone in your family. People can sort of smell it, a mile away if you're trying to lay it on thick, is my experience. What people get taken by surprise when they start is, and the job, and to sort of take it backwards a step, the job is not actually to sell property, not when you get started, that's for sure. Your job is to find listings. You can't sell what you don't have for sale, and you've got to go out there and generate a database and find clients who will give you their home to sell. That is what you spend majority of the time doing. How you go about that is the most important thing. So, some people will, start getting excited about the prospect of getting into real estate and selling property. Well, that's great. You get to do that eventually if you go through the proving ground and it can actually generate listings for yourself. So that's the result of doing the work, not the actual work itself. Also, everyone's a people person because they deal with people that are not like them, and we deal with challenging people on the daily. Like, sellers are often stressed, and if they're going to trauma dump, they're going to do it on you. Like, you're the channel they're giving it to, and sometimes you really feel that pressure. This person needs a sale, and every morning you roll into the office, you're going to make that call. There's no inquiry, or the open home feedback calls didn't go well. Everyone says it's way overpriced, about 200 grand. You got to tell them, and that can be really difficult. And people often aren't respectful of your time, respectful of what you do, or think very highly of you before they even know you. So it's one thing to be good with people who are easy to get along with. Anyone can do that, but how do you manage people who are fundamentally different to you and find a way to work forward positively? That's a challenge. I love that challenge personally, but not everyone likes it. They think it's all fun and games until they get their first abusive phone call. So just be aware of that. Also, the relentless prospecting. Like it's, as I said, it's not very glamorous. You could sit on the phone a lot, or I door knocked. I didn't like cold calling a whole lot. I like to get front facing with people. I went and door knocked until my knuckles bled. I enjoyed it, meeting people, being told to get off the driveway. That's fine. I took that as a bit of a badge of honour and went to the next door, and I enjoyed that connection, even if it was brief, fleeting, and didn't go anywhere. It was a great little engagement I had, and I'll go get the next person, and eventually you find people who want to talk to you. You'd be surprised how many people want a market update on their home, despite whether they're selling or not. Like, real estate's a bit of a pastime, right? People are curious about what's going on. So I would say these guys are doing bulk prospecting right now. Majority of people want to chat, right? They want to talk about real estate, the market, and things like that. It's not as frightening as you think. Once you're in the rhythm and speaking with people, it's actually can be enjoyable. The amount of discipline that's required. You got to pick up the phone when you don't feel like it. You've had a long day. You've got to make your calls. You've got to drive your appraisals. You've got to get more doors next week. And being able to doing it when you don't feel like it is a key to it. And you have to have exceptional resilience. I reckon if there's a single word to sum up the key to success in real estate, it is resilience. Those that push through and succeed versus those that don't are purely those that have the staying power and to withstand the disappointment. You can be resilient for a week or a month or 2 months, but 6 months in and you've just had your 5th rejection that week, they went with the other agent, a deal you were working on for months just crashed, the guy's got cold feet and walked out. You're driving down the street and on the way and you see a yellow sign with Ray White at the front, they told you they were going to list with you next week and they went with someone else. You've got to shake that off pretty quick and get on with it. It is, otherwise it's going to eat you alive. In my first year when these things would happen, I'd lose sleep, like quite literally. It would eat me up that I assumed these things were in motion and happening for me. And then now, it has to sting still a bit, even 19 years in, because it means you care, but you've got to, like Taylor Swift, shake it off pretty quickly and get on with it. We call it having your pity party around here. You can have your pity party, you have 5 minutes to have your pity party, then you just back into it. Sometimes people take more than 5 minutes, don't they? but it can be challenging. But if I had to quit any time in my first year, which felt like I was on the verge of it many times, I wouldn't have enjoyed the things that I've got to benefit from the years that followed. So sometimes it's just sticking it out. What we love about the job. First and foremost, it's the people you get to meet. After 19 years, I've just amassed a long list of clients that have become friends, and some of the best people I know I've met through this job, and I just thoroughly enjoy that. I get a real kick out of meeting people, understanding their story, their history, where they came from, what their goals are, and being a part of that is something truly rewarding and fulfilling to me. I love visiting clients that I've sold to and seeing what work they've done, seeing how their family has grown and different things they've done and how their goals change and how their lives change. And you're invited in, like, it's a pretty intimate setting, but they're going through a really significant shift, and to be part of that is something I find really rewarding. And yeah, people are very grateful when you can help them through that. So I find that's the best part. The second thing is like the impact you can have, and I really don't want to sort of overplay our role in society or our importance, but as I mentioned, people are, engaging in our services when they're going through a really significant change or a significant chapter shift in their life, and the house sale or the house purchase is like one component of a much bigger thing they're going through. We deal with people who are going through loss all the time, who are going through financial duress. I deal with a lot of divorce. In fact, I can't remember a time I wasn't dealing with a divorce at any given time, usually multiple, over the last 19 years. And these are highly stressful situations for people. And there's so much emotion tied up in it. And the house itself is often the last thing to let go of before you can move on with your life and get on with the next chapter for them. And when you can sort of get involved and help facilitate that next move for each of them, get them on the same page and get them moving towards a common goal, it can be very challenging at times with the realities of the situation you're in, but they've been the most rewarding transactions I've been a part of, and the ones who are the biggest advocates at the tail end. When they go, Jared, 2021 was hell for me, but thank God you got me through and life has been great since. So I've dealt with many bereavements as we do. So helping people achieve their goals through property is something that you can have a big impact on people's lives, and I really do enjoy that. And the money, which is good too. So obviously you have to achieve a certain level of success, but to join an industry without any tertiary education and within a couple of years earn the sort of money that CEOs would love to earn is kind of crazy, what you can earn. I've got people in my office who are relatively new and doing relatively well, but other people who have been around for a while and enjoy a good lifestyle, travel, investment property, setting themselves up for the future, helping family, all those things. And whatever that is for you, I know it's not always the money, it's what you do with it and the purpose behind it for you, but the rewards can be there. And if you're driven by money, there's no shame in that. Like if that is your motivator to build a life for yourself and for what's important to you, that can be the driving force, and the rewards can be there if you do things right and have the success. It does have lifestyle advantages, this job. The hours can be demanding, and yes, we work weekends, but I've never missed a school event, I've never missed important events in my personal family life. There's no need. You can work around your life here, especially in our offices. I can't speak for all of them, but I just think that you work to live, not the other way around. And I have absolute flexibility, always did, even under my prior employer before I bought the business, and my team do as well. That hey, if you need to attend something that's important to you, you don't be here, but be there, because you can work long hours sometimes after hours, and that's fine. It all swings and roundabouts in my view. I just think it's fun. Every day is different. I've never had 2 days the same in real estate. Whenever you rock up, you don't know who's on the other end of that line on the phone, who you're going to meet in an open home, what direction you'll go in. Getting out and about, seeing beautiful homes, meeting lovely people. I just really enjoy it. You're always on the go, different things changing, so that's it. Anything I missed? No? Cool. Getting started. Is anyone here doing the course or done the course or sort of in the process of getting qualified? A bunch of you, cool. Where have you guys been doing it? REIQ or complete property training or online, or what's been your sort of...
Just did it online.
Yeah. Online? Yep.
I'm still doing my modules.
The modules? Yep. Cool. Churning through it.
The license.
The license?
Yes.
It's
a bit longer.
Okay, that is a long time. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Because I think we've got 19 team in our office. I think 2 or 3 have a license.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's a bit overkill. You can actually, the modules you've completed, you can go to your certificate and just complete your license at a later date.
Right. Okay.
I think so. Don't rush the license course. You push through the modules necessary for the certificate and just get started.
Yeah, right.
Just push the.
Wasn't that hard?
So I can pause it? Oh, I've actually paused it already because I just moved
Oh,
here 3 weeks ago. And
you talk to your provider about which courses are necessary, which of the components or the modules are necessary for registration. I think you can,
Okay.
you should be able to.
Alright, cool.
So if you're in the process of doing your course or considering it, the certificate is sufficient for a career in real estate. You need to be a licensed agent if you want to own a business or run a company that contracts or whatever it may be, but the certificate does the job, that's for sure. I generally find there's options of like a 1 week in-person courses versus online courses that can take months. I'm not sure of the disparity or why that exists, but I've had agents do the online course, and it's just like going to take them a long time versus 1 week down at complete property training or REIQ, you knock it over, you get a certificate the next week and you're off to office fair trading and you're qualified within a month or two. So just look into that. Complete property training I think is the best option, and that's just some feedback of people I've known go through it. They're great, they're in classroom, they're good at what they do. I think it costs about $1,000 to do the education, am I wrong? Am I right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just enrolled in it for next week.
Yep.
990.
There you go, it's pretty close. Could have said yes. Yeah. Once you've done your education component, you then go to office fair trading with your qualification and say, I want to be an agent. There's a criminal history check. I'm sure you'll be fine. And the wait time can be 6 to 8 weeks for it to arrive. For a while that was pushing out to like 10 to 12, but I think they're back on track from what I've heard. And I think it's about $400 annually to be an agent at office fair trading. If you can do a 1 or a 3 year, it might come down a bit. Everything's tax deductible from there. Your petrol, your tyres, your phone, like, people get creative, don't do anything silly, but you know, whatever is a work expense, but of course all your education and licensing component are tax deductible too, so keep your receipts, claim them the next year. We're going to look at, has anyone, apart from a couple of guys, has anyone actually been in real estate before and sold a property? Or is everyone, yep, cool, a handful, fantastic, you guys know all about this. Just give you an idea of like, okay, so you've gone through the process of, you know, generating, you've got a listing, what does it look like, what do we do, what are the different components? Some of you may know this from having owned and sold a property, you're probably aware of some of it in any case, but the first part is you appraise and advise, and sometimes you're invited in like a long time before anyone actually is going to sell. They just want to get you around, what work should I do to this house, what do you think I'll get for it, what improvements should I make, what do you recommend to styling and things like that. They start the journey very early. Sometimes you're there months or even years before they actually come to market to help put them on the right track with their plans. So we're often out there doing appraisals for people who are thinking long term, and that's great, that's part of the job. They're just someone we're going to work with and nurture. From there, there's a real nurture period, which is keeping up to date, letting them know of recent trends or recent results that impact their value, and just being a useful set of hands for them. And often you're providing advice on contractors for different things, whatever it may be, but you've got to manage that relationship through to the time they're actually ready to list and hopefully be their agent of choice. And from there you are signing a Form 6, which is the listing agreement, which outlines all the terms in which you are to act for them. The price, all that sort of stuff, commission, etc. The type of sale is all on that form. From there, the part I find the most enjoyable is the marketing prep, getting on site with photographers, preparing editorial text. I really enjoy that part because it's a chance to sort of really think about what the story of that home is and how you can communicate its key assets to the marketplace, and briefing your photographer on what shot you think is going to work best and have the most impact. I really enjoy that because it also gets the client involved and gets them excited about their home too, and it's good to find out what they've loved about the home since they've been there and make sure those qualities are highlighted because they'll want to see those too. So that's a fun time getting that done. Once we've done marketing prep, we're publishing to, I guess, major websites in different areas. There's about 7 or 8 different ways you can broadcast a property through your buyer database, through your network of buyers agents, online, major websites, all those things. So you are then on the market and you are running inspections, private inspections, or you are doing open homes, etc. That was an open home I ran in 2021 when the COVID market was just starting to happen, and that is a line up all the way to the end of the street for people to get into the house. It was just chaos. I think we had 60 odd groups of people, and sometimes there were one family was one of those people in a group, and we had to do like 20 at a time, a rotating door. It was just madness, and that's what it was like for a good while. It's not like that now, but it was about 18 months of pure chaos like I've never experienced before. I would not like to see again. It's not healthy for anyone, I don't think. It's my opinion, but it was just absolute madness for a time there. Then you're negotiating offers. If you're at auction, of course, it's an open format where you've got registered bidders, otherwise it's private trees submitting offers and trying to negotiate either individual offers or together multiple offers. From there you'll enter a conditional period, which most contracts, if not sold at auction, would be subject to finance and building and pest. Sometimes other sort of more prickly ones, but they're the 2 standard ones that are in there, which means that the buyer has the right to go get a building inspector to have a good once over of the whole house. If they're not happy with that report, they can terminate or ask to negotiate things to be repaired. And it's also going to go to their bank to say, yes, we'll lend you the money for that property. So once you tick those 2 contracts off, you're then moving to settlement, which is a fun time, handing keys over to a property and making that experience really warm for your client, especially you buy. First-time buyers are the best. They're just absolutely jacked and so excited by it. Andrew, who's not here with us tonight, he settled a property a couple of weeks ago, and just late night he got an SMS from this lovely young couple, like on a pumped-up air mattress, you know, eating pizza, like, you know, thank you so much. You know, you were so great to deal with. This is our dream come true. We just, you know, and that really had an impact on Andrew. Like, yeah, I think he had a rough couple of days, and that just absolutely pumped his tires up for the rest of the week. That's a really cool thing to get. So we love that moment in creating those moments for people on settlement. So that's what selling your house. There's like 140 jobs I think have been identified, but they're like the top 9, I guess. So let's look at what we call a blueprint for success. Sales can feel really intangible. It's like, I'm doing all this work, I hope to list some property, what does it mean? I like a framework, I like to framework everything so I can actually mud map how the flow of things work from doing the work to getting the result. And the best description I can give is that fundamentally you begin with a database. Now, I mentioned before your job is to get listings. You can't even actually do that. You can't decide to go out and get listings. All you can do, all you have control over, is to make new relationships. You can go out there and meet new people, knock on doors, make cold calls, provide appraisals, and then you're just building a database of contacts that when they are ready to come to market will be your listings. So that's where the discipline comes in, because you're not doing the work for immediate reward. You know, we always want, I just called for 3 days straight and don't have a listing. Well, no, that's not reasonable. All you can do is create future opportunities. And some of those opportunities that you're creating are years and years in advance. You can be calling and people will give you all sorts of answers from, oh look, my kid's going to be graduating high school and then we're going to have to downsize. Oh great, when's that? Oh, they're in grade 2 now, so okay, great. Just call them every year. If you plan on playing the long game, you service that client, look after them, because you're going to want that listing in 10 years' time. Some people say, I'm going out of here in a pine box. We hear that every day. We say, how's your health? No, we don't say. So regardless of the timeline they give, that is an opportunity for future business, regardless of it doesn't matter how motivated they are. You've got to treat everyone the same, give them the updates that they want, give information that they seek, and if you treat them right in time, everyone's selling at some time. Everyone in their home is going to be selling at some point, it's just when. And do you have the patience to build those relationships with those people who might not be selling for a long time? Sometimes you jag people who are selling in the near future, and that's great fun. You make enough calls, you will. Some of our agents have joined us this year, prospect so well, they have generated a lot of business in their first 6 months of finding people who are in the market for now, which is cool. So not to deter you, but you have to understand the realities of it. So how do we build a funnel? How do we build a database? Well, these are the main ways. So we've got your personal network. People you know now are your database. Your friends, family, colleagues, schoolmates, footy mates, whatever it is, like you need to have them advocating for you because they're your ready-made database, they're your best supporters. Professional network, people you know via referral, your doctor, your dentist, all those sorts of people. Just anyone you know that is amongst your network. Obviously, prospecting is how you best build a database. Your past clients, just having good marketing and branding, your incoming buyer inquiry from properties, meeting people at open homes, and just what you attract. So they're the different ways we can build a database. And the reason why they're different colors there is because when you get started in your first year or so, that's all you've got. Like you don't have like incoming buyer inquiry to provide leads and opportunities. You've got nothing but the grind work to do. Once you've done this really well and you've established a foothold and you've got listings consistently coming through your database because you've done all the right things, you've done the discipline, I'd say a good couple of years of that hard grind work, you live mostly in here, like almost exclusively. Like I don't really prospect after my second and third year because I had such a fit and fat database that all my opportunities were coming through there from people who I'd met. I was starting to get a lot of referrals People were walking my open homes because they were just price checking for their own home. So my time was best spent nurturing what was warm in my orbit already, rather than pounding the pavement again and trying to find new leads. My sister Lauren, she's currently, her title's being threatened. She's currently our highest performing agent. That's it. That's all she does. It is the most pure attraction business I've seen. It's all inbound. She has incredible presence where she is. Yes, some of this stuff is done. She has exceptional marketing and branding, but almost all of her leads, bar a few that we drive through prospecting and things like that, are inbound. Hey Lauren, seen you work, love your work, come miss my home. That's the dream to work towards, and she's earned that from years of doing that other work. So all that pain point you go through early, if you do it right, it's temporary. You do it once and you do it right, and you build your database, and then it's all feeding itself, down here. That's what it looks like. Seems so simple. Where does it go wrong? So the most common faults that I see as to where careers falter, or where they just fail to launch, is fundamentally just a lack of awareness of the realities of the job. They just think they get 4 months into making calls and this sucks. This is not for me. I'm sick of making phone calls or knocking the doors. I don't enjoy this. It's not my bag, and that's fine. You've got to go through it to find out. The person doesn't have the requisite discipline or resilience. If you just fail to make the calls routinely, you just won't get opportunities and you won't have the results, and that's disappointing. You'll opt out. And if you allow yourself to get too beaten down with the disappointment, you'll find a way to exit, because as I've said, self-doubt can be a very real thing. And the best agents in this business, the highest performers, face far more rejection than they do find success. And that's just the reality of it, the day in, day out. You've got many more people saying no thank you than yes to you, regardless of your time. And that can be really stinging early on. It can really attack your sense of self-worth if people are constantly saying no, you're not for us. So you're going to be able to push through that, see to the other side. A common thing that I see is like what I'd call like the second year blues in agents, and it's kind of like, if I go back, they start to get some of this and think this is cool, forget that shit, I don't need it anymore, and they sort of have a bit of a stop-start. They list a few sales, and then they didn't have a fit enough database that it was constantly providing opportunity, that they all of a sudden sell their listings, they've got no more stock, no opportunity, and they just find it very hard to go back, to starting again on the ground floor. Whereas you really have to sort of work both of them together for a good while to hit certain thresholds and volume before you can remove yourself from that real grind work. That was that one. And often there's not enough clarity about the progress that's being, or the right things aren't being measured. In your first year, we are not gauging your success on how much commission you generate. That is just not fair, it's not reasonable. What we are gauging your success on is how your database is progressing. What sort of volume are you building? What are your relationships like? How many new people are you adding? How many new appraisals are you doing each week? We can measure that, we can see. And if we've got an agent who works with us, his name is Mark, he's just a lovely gentleman. He's the most maniacal door knocker I've ever met. I don't see him. I see him to come and print appraisals and that's it. And for his first year, he did not have a lot of success to speak with. We'd sit down and look at his database. It was too big to manage. It was just new clients by the dozen every week. And now he's sort of hit the 12-month mark. He's got Form 6s just flying at him left, right and centre, of the work that he's done. If you had have gauged his success by how much commission he had in his first year, you'd be inclined to think, well, he's failing, it's not working. But we were just so stoked with what he was building, and he's got probably more upside than most. He's got a monster business coming in his second year, because we were measuring the right things and looking at what was actually being done with supreme confidence that he was going to have a very successful and healthy career in real estate, which is now starting to see the fruit from. So let's look at the modes of entering the industry. There's two main ways in which you get started in sales. And we've got two agents here with us tonight for us to use as examples. Lee started with us in January. In fact, Lee sat where you were in October last year for the first ever one of these that I ran. This is the second one. And we employed Lee then, and he started in January, and he started as a standalone agent. Mish, who is here, she spent all of 2023 as my sales support person, so my sort of right-hand gal, partnering for everything that we did, and then started in her own right this year. So she had a year on ramp. So there's real difference as to how that can look for you depending on what sort of role you get and what suits you best. So we'll look at the pros and cons of each. So I guess the pro of being a standalone sales agent is you've got like a fast track to higher earning. Like you've got a reasonable chance of earning good money in your first couple of years in real estate. It's quite capped as a sales support person. Like you're probably 65 to 70K at the most probably in a sales support role, I would think. Whereas you can earn certainly more than that in your first year, definitely your second year, you know, in sales. You've got autonomy, you're sort of building something for yourself, you're building your own brand, your own future, your own opportunities, your own pipeline listings for a later stage. So you've got an absolute start from day one to build out your career. You're doing all parts of the job, you're hands-on with everything. You do everything that is involved in the transaction and the prospecting through to settling and buy managing, database management, it's all you. Some of the cons of doing it this way, it's a steep learning curve. You've got to learn how to do it all at once. You know, you've got to figure it out pretty quick. We have good training here, of course, but it can be challenging. It can be, some people find it overwhelming, how much you have to pick up and quickly when you jump in the deep end, I suppose, and just start out as a sales agent. You've got the pressure, or not from me, but probably your own perceived pressure of debit credit. And the way that works for you guys getting started is that if you are starting as a sales agent and you're given a wage generally that is payable back with the commissions that you earn. So if you are 30 weeks in getting paid $1,000 a week, you've got 30 grand worth of comms that will just go back against your debit until you're level. Once you hit neutral and you're in surplus, then you get paid commission. So that's how that debit credit system works. And we have a real scientific way of doing it. It's just a spreadsheet, you know, money in, money out, and we just work it out the bottom. And once you hit positive territory, great, you're earning money and you're making good comms from that point on. Like side note, like if someone's out there offering you like a commission only role, it's not legal. Like it's just, you can't do it. I don't care what the workaround is or what they try and get you to do. We don't do it here. If you are new to industry, you must be paid. You have to qualify through a minimum 1 year in the biz, maybe it's 2, but minimum 1, and you have to have earned 25% above the award wage at some point in the last 2 years in the industry to qualify for commission only. I just don't risk it, I don't do it. I pay and I get it back, of course, through the credit when they sell. A lot of my agents qualify for commission only or on commission only. That's great, it's nice and simple, you know, when money's in and money out, but people new to us will generally go on debit credit. You'll get it's not an exciting income, but it pays the bills. Not these days, but it, you know, goes something like it takes a while to build confidence and competence, I suppose, when you're sort of thrown in the deep end right in front of clients. Looking at the pros of being a sales support person, you are learning at a steadier pace through like direct mentorship. So you're working under someone else and you're just responding to their needs. It's sort of, you know, direct on-the-job training, which is, in my view, the best way to do anything, of course. So it's a good way to do it. There's less pressure to produce results. It's not up to you to generate listings. You kind of play a part in it, but you're not the primary provider. Like you're sort of being more reactive to the work that they're producing. So a lot less pressure in that regard. You're being involved in more transactions and you're not as worried about money. You're not getting paid a lot, but you're not having to worry about, you know, it's probably more than what the debit credit's going to be. So you've got a livable wage, you know, more so. And you're not having to worry about driving those commissions. Cons can be, well, you're working for someone else effectively. You know, you're not self-employed. One of the beautiful things about real estate is if you're an agent, you're your own business. You really are. If you're a sales support person, you're beholden to that person's wishes. Danica is Lauren's sales support person, and she's just a dream, isn't she? She's not demanding or strange in any way.
We balance each other.
You do,
yeah.
in the best ways. My sister, I can talk shit about her all I like, so that's okay. And there's less autonomy with the job. You're being told what to do, of course. You're at someone else's beck and call, and you know it can be a slower track to higher earning. And some agents feel stuck in a support role. I've speak to other agents, not here, but in other offices. I think, oh, I've been a support person for 2 years. They won't let me start. I'm making this other lead agent too much money. So just beware that can be a pitfall. If you do get offered a support role, but you want sales, talk about what the pathway is and the timeframes that you want to branch out on your own. Just something to be aware of. What are we looking for? Fundamentally, the right cultural fit for our team and our working environment. That's at the forefront of everything we make our decisions on. So, vibe check. We just want someone who's going to be a contributor to our atmosphere and our culture, which I'll talk about shortly. But that leads every decision that we make. Secondary, someone who shows the requisite discipline and resilience. How do you know? You don't. You just guess with the best information you've got at the time and hope for the best. You don't know until you're in it. But, you know, convince me as best as you can. You know, I guess I don't know what else to say, but you will be challenged, of course. So someone who's up to the challenges is someone who we're looking for. Someone who can help us grow our footprint across the Sunshine Coast, which we cover, as I mentioned, a pretty broad, you know, area. Wherever we want to carve out some market share for you and focus your attention, we'll just do the research, do the numbers. How well does that area turn over? Who's our competitors? How do we give ourselves a competitive edge, and how do we go about it? So, and for now, we are looking for someone to start some people maybe as an outright agent. Next year we may have some support roles going in terms of providing support for a lead agent. At the moment we don't. We've jumped the gun a bit too early for what we did, but if you're hell-bent on sales support, keep talking to me, because next year there could be some roles opening up in that space, but for now we're looking for people who want to just put 2 feet in and have a crack and go for it. Okay, working with us, what does that look like? If you're out there talking to prospective employers and you've got interviews or you're meeting principals or doing that sort of stuff, and you're thinking that, you know, they're interviewing you or quizzing you about whether you should be working for them, you really have to consider the fact that you should be equally interviewing them back to see if they're the right home for you. And there's things you probably want to find out to see if you want to be a part of that workspace, because fundamentally who you work for will have a significant bearing on whether you enjoy the job, stick with it, and whether you have success or not. So I've got 8 different areas I focus on a weekly basis in delivering for my team to make sure they're providing the tools, the resources, and the environment to make sure that they can thrive both personally and professionally. So I'll go through those, and these might give you some cues about different things to ask employers about how they do things to figure out if they should have the right to employ you. I think that's an important thing. So first and foremost, I already touched on this, is office culture. We have an incredible working environment that is just second to none. We have a lot of fun out of the office, but it's really the power of our energy. I hate the word energy, but I'm going to use it. Energy inside the office we kind of thrive on, the support we give each other. There's not one person in the office who doesn't want to see everyone else succeed and goes out of their way to help one another. And that's rare for a real estate sales business. I've only known this place, but other people come to me from outside and say how unique it is. And that's something I'm very proud of, and we'll never look to disrupt. We just wouldn't tolerate anything other than that. All of my guys are leaders in their own right and have a chance to help one another out, and we all do. Whether it's just a technicality of the job or just a bit of a pick-me-up if you need it, we all have a way of detecting where others need support, and when we jump in, I think everyone feels valued and supported in their own way. There's culture by design and culture by accident, right? So by design, as a leadership team, we focus on different initiatives to make sure our people feel valued and appreciated, respected, and recognised for their efforts. And we have different things that we do, you know, to ensure that is consistently delivered. And culture by accident is just the makeup of the people in the room and what they all contribute, you know, energy-wise. And we are fortunate to have, in my view, the best people in the biz for that. So that is one thing I think we definitely surpass all other people on, is our office culture. We're very proud of it, if you can't already tell. Other things that you'll get working with us and you need to know about is training and development, critical to your success. So there's a lot of onboarding programs that we have both in-house, and Harcourts run them themselves, that are great for brand new and first year agents. Separate from that, we have in-house training once per week, which follows just different formats, always changing. We don't have a sort of set regime as to what we do. We change it up each week depending on what the topic of the moment is. We've got a heavy auction focus at the moment, so we're delving into a lot of auction training. We have multiple programs come through from head office each month. You can have webinars to fill your ears like non-stop with what head office is producing for us. There's an endless supply of materials online and via webinars through Harcourts as well. You spend weeks sifting through it and not get through it all. So we're not short on training materials. It's just about the absorb. I think sometimes there's too much information out there these days. It's hard to sort of really sift through it. I heard an interesting quote last week. It used to be that knowledge is power, and it's not the case anymore. Knowledge is everywhere. Everyone can get knowledge. It's about interpreting that and applying it. So we focus a lot more time on, okay, the fundamentals haven't changed. How do we really absorb that and apply it and fundamentally implement it into what we're doing on a daily and weekly basis? That's where the real gold is. Everyone sort of knows a lot of the stuff. It's quite repetitive, but it's about the doing, of course. It makes all the difference. And then, of course, there's the specialist training and mentorship for myself and different Harcourts leadership. It's kind of like just a as-need basis per agent. We put a framework around them as to what they need. What else? The Harcourts group, we love being a part of Harcourts. They're an incredible group to be a part of. As I said, I joined in 2016. I had some set criteria that I wanted to be for the group that I wanted to be a part of. Their tech offering, their culture, their training and development, their leadership. I'm a huge advocate for the group and always will be. Harcourts is my home. When I changed, I've never been like a grass is greener person, thinking, oh, I need to sort of jump ship and move to something better. My brand that I was with was just sort of, really on the way out, and I wanted a vehicle that was going to take me to the next level. Harcourts certainly delivered in spades. I think they're great value. Their events are just world class. We go to conference each year and just have a blast. We have quarterly awards every 3 months. We get down there and celebrate success with our peers from other offices, and make friendships with people from all around. I certainly have. It's just fun. It's just good fun to be a part of. Their training's brilliant. They're just great to work with. So we love being a part of the Harcourts group. That's 3 things. The next 3 things are, I think I provide something, with leadership. So I think my role is to be of service to my people. Like literally, whenever I walk in, how do I enhance the experience for the people who I work with each day? That's my primary responsibility. And I really want to play a role in your success through your strategic planning, keeping you on track with your goals and what your plan is to your own pathway. That's done via one-to-one meetings that I have with pretty much everyone each week, and support wherever needed. I don't think a day goes. I speak to almost everyone almost every day. It's rarely I'd go 2 days in a row without speaking to someone. So there's always some sort of need or chat on the phone or sit down meeting to help navigate what they're going through. That's my primary, is to be there and help support you with what you're dealing with at that time. And I love that. Admin support, you've met Tyler and Sandy out there. Our main philosophy here is whatever slows you down from doing what you do best, we want to take off your hands. So all your paperwork and admin that can get in the way of doing that, we want to identify what your needs are and proactively ensure that that is being done by someone else. So that's at the time of signing a listing, from the whole list to settle process taken care of. The depth of service that these ladies, Tyler and Sandy, are providing to our clients is exceptional. They make us look like superstars. And all we've done is hand in the paperwork and sort of just move on to the next thing, and what they do is just exceptional. So a lot of other offices, you're doing a lot of the heavy lifting yourself, whereas we just want to get that out of your hands, get you back out there and get you client facing. Marketing support, we have an in-house marketing manager, Julia. So whatever you need, you get. That can be from whether you're doing neighborhood marketing, or you're doing a mail out, or you're doing socials, producing videos, doing sneak peeks, or you're creating content. She's kind of like the go-to person for everyone. And again, like back in the day, the amount of time people would sit there on their laptop producing that perfect DL flyer, it's like for hours trying to perfect it, get the font just the right size. Like, just stop it. So Julia does all of that for people. She'll give you a few different proofs what you like most. Yep, great, tweak that, get it printed, get it cut, here, go drop, and get out there and go speak to more people. So Julia is our go-to person for all things marketing. It's great to have her in-house working with us. Up to 6 things, 2 more things. So we've spent a lot of time crafting what we call the success platform. So all the tools you could possibly need to be successful in this biz, we want you to have at your disposal. Different tech tools, different client nurturing tools. All the marketing and listing presentation and pre-listing kits are second to none. We put a lot of time crafting these in both digital format and hard copy, high touch type things. So we have a full suite of, I guess, these things which we put around you from day one. So that's about sitting down, assessing what your personal brand is, working with Julia on that, and crafting all this, you know, this network of things. It doesn't do the job for you, but it helps you be more efficient in talking and engaging and keeping in touch with clients. So that's an important part of what we do. And the last thing that I sort of focus heavily on, especially of late, is brand and reputation. And by this, I want our business to be something that you, number one, are very proud to represent. And when you tell someone you work for Harcourts community, that means something to you, and it also means something to the client that you're talking to. I want, if you work for us, I want opportunities to come to you because you work for us and you're part of an attraction brand. And I want you to experience, if you're in front of clients trying to convert business and competing against other agents, which you always are, the fact that you work for Harcourts community to be a significant advantage as to why they make that choice. So that is why I'm really, and that's a big beast to unpack, but I'm really trying to develop that further now. And timing in with that is a program that we launched just this month, which I'm really proud of. It's called our Community Connections Program. And what this is we decided as a group unanimously with enthusiastic participation from the sales team that with every sale that we make, we give $500 back to a different social group, charity group or community organisation of the seller's choice, which is a great way to build our networks out in the community, get exceptional PR and, you know, just goodwill and good word of mouth. So that has kicked off. We're a couple of weeks in and already getting great feedback on it, and that will just develop over the years and become a really, you know, significant part of our brand message and who we are. So that's something we're quite excited and proud of. Cool. My mouth is dry. I've been talking for a long time. I'm going to share the load a bit now. I'd like you to welcome two people who are very special to me. We have Mish Thomas and Lee Christmas. I'm going to take a big old drink of water. Give them a clap, please. We do understand. Yeah, cool. Go for it. So, by way of background, I think I sort of shared this. Lee sat in one of the chairs in October. An absolute success story. Off the back of that, I was lucky enough to secure the services of Lee and another fellow, Andrew, and they both joined us in the new year this year. They've just had such an impact. Like, they've just done such incredible things with the listings that they've won, the market share that they've forged in a very short time frame realistically. Much better first year than I had. Incredible success, both him and Andrew. So it's been a pleasure to have them join our business. Mish came to us 2 years ago? Nearly 2 years ago, and spent a year as my sales support person.
Yep.
Best year I've had in real estate.
A year and a half, I think.
Yeah? Oh, sure, a year and a half. Yep. We had a lot of fun partnering up for all of our sales in 2023. Really good one. And then she's been in her own right. Miss you a bit. Don't get to see you every day. Don't have, that's the way it is. So I have preloaded them with these questions. Like, this is not something they haven't, you're not hearing this the first time, are you? For full disclosure.
There's questions.
You are freewheeling this, I can tell. So, questions I'd like to ask you and share with our attendees tonight is, what has been the biggest challenge this year transitioning into real estate?
I'm a bit lucky. I've actually, I am married to an agent and was married previously to another real estate agent. So I have had 20 plus years of torture of real estate. So I was a bit ahead of the game, and I acted pretty much for both my ex-wife as like a PA. I'm great with numbers, so where my wives were crap with numbers. So I sort of was a bit ahead of the game, I think, for me. The biggest challenge, Andrea, my wife, has just joined us here since I've joined Harcourts, which we thought would never happen.
So far so good, right?
Yeah. So my biggest challenge is not arguing with my wife too much and trying to stay married for the second time. So and just so you know, today is our anniversary, and I forgot. Rookie error. No, she just sent me a message saying bring wine.
Yeah, bring two.
Yeah, so I guess I'm a bit ahead of the game. So.
Thanks, Lee. Mish?
Being consistent.
Yep.
So I had 5 sales very quickly in the first 4 months of the year. So there was this feel of imposter syndrome and beginner's luck. But while all 5 of those sales were very hands-on with retirees, divorces, and there's a lot of emotion that goes into that. I'm not an emotional kind of person, but it does bring it out in you, and you've got to spend a lot of time with them. So whilst I was spending a lot of time with those sales, my prospecting dropped, which means that I've gone from an award-winning agent last quarter to barely any listings. So I've got 3 on the hop at the moment, but compared to what I had, it's a big drop. So it's just making those damn calls. And it's good. Like, you can either let it get to you or you can make it energize you. Every F off, I smile and laugh and go, I'll get you next time. It's cool. And it's actually quite energizing once you get those calls started. You just keep banging it out and it's fun. Majority of people are actually nice. So, yeah, it's good.
Thank you. What have you enjoyed most about the job?
To be honest, really here, this culture that I talk to Jared often about it. I come from an adult education background and hospitality, and both are fraught, and community service, and both of them are fraught with a bit of negativity. And for me, because I already knew the game pretty well, being in the situation I was in, it's really this place here that's been the best thing, to be honest. Yeah.
Thank you, Lee.
And that's not just a get paid wise. No, legitimately has been. It's a great culture, and Jared's got great leadership skills. I actually teach leadership, and Jared's 13 years younger than me. He'd be one of the best leaders I've ever worked for. So, yeah,
Cool. Mish, anything else?
I definitely second that. And on top of that, it's not only the culture here, but the connections you make through your job. Very similar to Jared, I've already made some lifelong friends. It's almost a hazard as well. But yeah, you do get to meet people at their most vulnerable, and they're trusting you with their biggest asset and something that's going to give them their next opportunity. So it's something that I don't hold lightly, and I feel it's a pretty incredible thing that we get to do.
Good. Well put. Thank you. What has surprised you the most? What did you expect to find out about the job that you have since found out about the job?
I come just at home from Tasmania originally, and they're all pretty chilled down there. Here, and as I said, my wife's been in real estate, how cutthroat everybody here is, and you've just got to really adapt quickly, but never compromise your own. As Jared knows, I'll never compromise my integrity, but you just got to be really adaptive really quickly, because it's pretty cutthroat. Like the moment you list something, someone's on the phone, just ready to suck it up off you. So,
What do you mean by that?
so if you list something and you've got your Form 6, it might be 3 months, they'll be on the phone. Like I've had some, I've got to be careful to say, there's just things that they'll put out there to your clients to create distrust or doubt. And I hadn't seen it previously. I hadn't seen it in Tasmania. There was a bit, because I came from a small town, so it was all pretty respectful. I'm not saying people aren't respectful here, but it's just, you're singing for your supper, so you've got to really grind.
We really touch on that point, Lee. It's a really good point. It is a highly competitive industry. So you're not only competing against yourself every day, you're competing against all the other agents out there in the field. It's not too often, fortunately, my recent success, I'm called in unopposed because of the nature of the relationship. But for your first 10 years, you're generally not. You're getting called in against 2 or 3 other leading agents. You've got to convince that client as to why you're their agent of choice, and deal with some really sharp operators. Like, credit to the competition, there's some good operators out there. You have to be better than them, and we train a lot on this about how you become the agent of choice. And it's not about being the sleekest or the sharpest, about being often it's being the most authentic. So how do we really make sure that you endear yourself to the client the best? But that is a real challenge of it.
And your emotional intelligence will be tested. Like, I think I'm pretty stable, but as Jared said, I had a close one first in. I had a couple of rough clients, but your emotional intelligence will be tested. And as I say, I think I'm pretty good, but I got called out a couple of times.
As in staying calm and level-headed?
Yeah.
Can I just say on that too, as a sales support, you do feel that as well, because you might be working for your agent, but it's important that you feel those emotions with your agent, because you're passionate about you know, Lauren, for example, I want her to stay as number one. So I think it's important being passionate on their behalf as well.
Lauren feels all the feelings,
Yeah.
doesn't she? And then, as a result, we feel all the feelings. So, yeah. She's been number one agent in Palmview for as long as she's been down there. She's had some real close calls, people trying to dethrone her.
Yeah.
She's not having it. Like, she's not having it. So she's very competitive in the best possible way. It's just, for me, it's just fun to watch.
Mine was the same answer. Like, there are a lot of agents that are ruthless and will do anything, but you've just got to use it to fuel you, not destroy you.
Cool. Very good. What are your goals for the future?
Well, domination, clearly.
Survive.
Sometimes that's enough. Yeah.
No, look, I think just continue to be authentic and continue to be successful. Do you know what I mean? I don't post stuff too far out into the future. The universe will provide, and I think if you just keep a positive attitude and keep pushing forward every day, the stuff comes. Well, I've had a bad couple of weeks, and as Jared knows, I've had a cracking week this week. It's just gone mental, and you just, you know, you can't plan too far ahead because anything can change in an instant. Do you know what I mean?
Have a good day.
It's an industry of high highs and low lows, and it's the same for your clients. So you watch it in the office, someone will be on top of the world one week or day, and then we'll be crying in the corner the next. But it's you just have to savor all of the awesome points, like, you know, the text that you get from the happy new purchases and everything like that.
Yep. And when you see your fellow agent crying in the corner, give them a pillow and pat them on the head. That's all.
Send them a text message.
Text message, that's all I do.
And you will find this team here are very much like there's a lot of, we know in the industry there's a lot of people that will just do their own thing and keep moving forward. But to be honest, everybody in this room that Jared's got, you know when the energy's off and you know when that person's off. Everyone just lets them sit for a bit, and then you'll find that, like, you know, you were ordering the other day, you just know. And you've got a really good team here that pick up on it. Like, again, that's something you've built too.
Yeah, I think my husband's seen me cry once in 18 years, and it was last Friday.
Must have been huge.
It was big.
Cool. Top tip or advice you wish you were told before starting?
Oh, I've got a cracker for this one. Don't ask Lauren if she is older than Jared. That's my top tip.
3 people over the journey have made the mistake of asking, who's older, you and Lauren? And I'm 6 years older than her, and she does not like that question. So.
He was in the car one day, we were going somewhere for a listing presentation. I said, mate, who are you or Lauren? He said, I'm keeping that one up for the office. As soon as he got in, I threw me under the bus.
Guess what Lita said? Right. Good advice.
Mine is be a sponge and watch other people, but find your own style, because you can only be you, and that's what will get you listings over other people. If you're trying to adopt someone else's, you know, MO, it just doesn't work because you're not authentic. You've just got to be you, and you'll end up attracting the people that want to list with you.
Great advice.
Thanks.
Very good advice. Great. Cool. I am out of ideas. Open the floor to questions, anything you'd like to ask. Myself, Mish, Lee, anyone? Yep.
Going for an interview and saying that the salary is between 45,000 and 55,000.
Mm-hmm.
Just wondering, like, what you do with that, and from an employer, what is their reasoning behind what they actually like suggest for your salary?
Yeah, sure. It's pretty low, if I'm being frank, just in terms of what the industry would normally, like, wages have gone up. All my property management staff, everyone's getting paid a lot more than they were a couple of years ago here. You know, that's pretty low. So I guess you probably want to be focused more on what the growth opportunities are and what time frame, like, and what you're doing for that money. Like, if you're expected to generate leads and provide listing opportunities for lead agents, that's a pretty high dollar value sort of a job. But if it's a temporary thing and, like, it's just a support role, you're delivering letterbox drops, putting open home signs out, doing a bit of admin and things like that, maybe that might be what sort of role that salary could be attached to. And if that's what, some people, that's all they want to do. They don't want to be client facing, they want to be in real estate but not do all the sort of hands-on stuff. They want to be a support person or be an admin, and that's great. But by today's standards, that's a bit low. I'd be finding out what the progression opportunities were from
Yeah.
that point. Yeah. Does that answer your question? Or
Yes, and I guess, going about saying that you're wanting, you know, the 55,000.
oh yeah, so
Right.
people I've interviewed have been very clear. My salary expectation is this. I think
Right.
I'm worth this. So
Yeah.
don't be shy in
Yeah,
that. I
just
think
say it straight out.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
think to a prospective employer, I think you can almost you have a level of respect about that, and
Yes.
knowing what you're getting for your money. You think I am worth X because of
Yeah,
reasons X,
exactly.
Y, Z. So I think that's fair.
Yeah,
I don't think a good employer that you want to work for shouldn't be deterred by that.
no,
If someone bristles and go, oh, you know, next,
yeah, okay,
I'll take a junior at 50K instead, you don't want to work there. You
Good.
know your value and
yeah,
be confident and comfortable with who you are and what your value is, and
awesome,
you should get respect.
Thank
yeah,
you.
no problems.
Oh, sorry, someone else.
Yeah,
Do you guys have sessions where you share creative ideas to enhance buyer involvement when you're selling the properties?
So every Tuesday morning we put the new listings up on the screen and sort of show what we've bought in, and we talk about what the property has, and different questions will come up at all times, what the key selling points are of that property, and we sort of show it off to the team, and we all sort of just find ourselves collaboratively talking about it, organically. So I wouldn't say it's that deliberate that we sort of say, hey, how do we sell this one? Although if we get tricky ones that are a bit prickly, that's on the agenda. Guys, I've got this property. It's got I don't really know how to do it. Like, what do you think I should? What's the strategy? What's my angle here? How do I handle the pricing challenge I've got with the seller? So we very much workshop those, just not formally, but organically all the time. Yeah. Yeah.
With like Harcourts group, you limited on areas you can work. Like, say you've got like Harcourts down at Caloundra.
Yep.
So what happens with that? Like I'm down Curramundi way when you sort of
Yeah,
funneling in there.
the only restriction on franchise agreements is that another office can't open in Buderim. That's the only restriction. So
Right.
Lee spends more time working in Caloundra than he does Buderim. So that's fine.
So so you can sort of farm.
You can go wherever you want.
Yep.
Absolutely.
When I took the job with Jared, I came to this careers night being Buderim, and I live in Curramundi.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, so my wife and I, we only sell Curramundi and Watala. That's just our focus. We pick stuff up around the edges, that's okay, but that's our core farm area. And at first I didn't take the job, did I?
No, you thought, oh great, love what I heard, but I want to work down this way.
And then we had a few meetings, and Jared just said, no, I'm happy for you to operate down there. So we go down Andy and I go down as far as Golden Beach now.
Yeah.
So, but our main core is Watala.
And you haven't found that being your office being here is not getting
Has
into
no
it
impact
anyway.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
No.
Thank you. Anything else? Yes.
Tattoos.
Tattoos?
Yes.
Can't be uniform.
I got a family for my young guys.
Alex-
I'm like, shit.
Alex, who worked for me for a good while,
He
he
was
finished up.
sleeves.
He was sleeves, knuckles, a lot, neck,
Right,
like
okay.
everything. It was, he won business. I think this day and age, it's not a.
So I have a big pig here and a big cleaver here and a.
Okay, that's a little better.
It's
Like
just that
flowers and normal stuff,
if you're gonna meet with elderly people, I
Yeah.
still will make sure
Cover them up. Yeah,
Cover it.
exactly. Yeah.
just out of help.
Just read your audience.
Yeah,
Normal thing. Yeah, that's different age. So.
but everyone else is cool.
I think it comes down to overall presentation too, like how you articulate, how you present yourself overall with your demeanour and everything. So,
I think more than half the people in the office have
Yeah.
tattoos.
yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
More than half.
I think
It's how you wear them, it's how you dress, it's your overall thing. Exactly.
And even your style, like I'm not always, because I sell beachside, as Jared knows, I'm a lot of times in jeans, t-shirt and just a sports jacket.
Yeah.
Because you just got to bring to your market what your market expects.
He's just dressed up for you guys tonight.
I checked, I said, right, be corporate boss, he went, yes.
That's that jacket off, get it? Yes, sir.
Yeah, so if you're knocking on doors and asking buyers and giving them information like market updates on their houses, you wouldn't wear a suit if that's not you, or you would, or
No, I mean, guys, a lot of successful agents in our area get around in shorts and a polo. That's not me, that's fine. And that's them, that's their personal brand, that's about being authentic. And I think clients are much more appreciative. I like wearing a suit, I don't always wear a tie, but That's just how I feel comfortable with my approach. So, yeah, no need for a suit when you're outdoor, not in the heat especially.
Why did Harcourts stand out above all the other agencies?
I had certain criteria that I wanted. I had down to like a little scorecard, which I would keep. There was culture, training, professional professional development, events, recognition, a couple other things that I forget. So I interviewed hookers, Harcourts, First National, Place, and just met with their leadership teams and just saw what they did, what their value offering was, and it was astonishing how ahead Harcourts was in all those metrics. So Harcourts has been in Australia for nearly 30 years, compared to the other brands that are closer to 100 years, and they're currently, in the time that I've been with them, since 2016, they've gone from 4th nationally in Queensland to 2nd, and they are the fastest growing brand in Australia in terms of growth and new business. So it's not the wrong place to go after 2nd, you know, and that's obviously a big thing to get after, but every time I meet with the team at HQ, and with our CEO, I don't mind saying, is ex-LJ Hooker, and he came to us saying, I didn't realise how much ahead of the game Harcourts were with their value offering over Hookers and all the other brands. Like the framework they have for growth and for supporting their people is really a second to none.
Awesome.
And who's the first?
What's that, sorry?
Who's the first?
Ray White, the other brand. Yep, they've just been benefit of, you know, they've obviously been very good operators for many years in Australia and especially Queensland. So they're the biggest brand by some margin. They're not first by a little bit, they're first by quite a lot, but you know, Harcourts have a mission. It's not about being number one, it's just about giving the best value and being the best brand, and then the results take care of itself. Yeah. Yes, mate.
Probably more for Lee and yourself. In regards to your first kind of 3 months, how did they look? How did you approach your first kind of initial months?
How did
You approach your first kind of initial 3 months in the industry?
Database.
Yeah.
So you're making calls.
Okay.
I'm a numbers man, and it all comes down to numbers. Seriously, I stepped back for the last couple of months. I stepped back, and things dropped off for me, and I've gone back to crunching the stats. And again, like this week's been a cracker for me, just because I've got back to where I started. So yeah, it's on the phone, offer. Yeah.
You're off the
Yeah.
That's great.
She said to me, I've
Do you know what
sent the offer.
Do you know what it is?
Is that a Form 6 and an offer?
No, 2
Yeah,
Form
it
6s
is.
today.
Yeah.
What is it?
Do you know how much?
Go.
It's 1.2.
Terms?
14, 21, subject to sale.
That's
Yes, and I'm going to
Mish
get
is
that
going to
list.
pick that one up.
Okay, right.
So I go to Mish because someone can't sell it, but I know Mish will. So.
Queen of
Yeah,
Sydney
so
list.
just doing like, seriously, like, my wife has been an agent for 20 years, and she's a bit like was in Tassie like Lauren, an attraction agent. So Andy had sort of lost the concept of the grind, and we have an argument about this all the time. Probably that's why she decided to join with me, because I grind. so, yeah, so she was really lacklustre when she came here, and it's because of 20 years of being an attraction agent, people coming to her. She's had to relearn what she did initially 20 years ago. But for me, it sort of shows like doing the grind makes a difference.
You just gamify it and it becomes fun.
Yeah.
You do.
So, my other question, with your new agents, listing appointments, so you generate the listing appointment, do you then, one of your other senior agents go out along with the new agents to?
Early on, yeah, especially we try to, and that's often me. Or sometimes we find there's organic partnership and collaboration in the office, and where we're great with that, in that, as I said, everyone is a support and leader in their own way.
Yeah.
So we just find that even Mish early on has been support for other people who've come and gone out to appointments with them. Steve is one of my more long terms. People will go to him and workshop things before they head out, or he'll happily, you know, book in time to go out with you. I will as well, so I find them often out on appointments. So yeah, a lot of time goes into preparing and how you're going to deliver that. You'll get to a point where sometimes you just, for a comfort thing, you want to be on your own because you feel like you're presenting to both your principal or your colleague and the client, and you're sort of conscious of both. You want to be on your own. But to answer your question, yeah, you won't be short on people who would be happily coming out to an appointment with you. Yeah.
Because they're hard to come by, so you don't want to.
they're just
Straight
you know,
up.
20, 30 grand commission checks at a time, and you want to get it right. You know? Absolutely, they're expensive appointments by the hour. Yeah.
So obviously it's a pretty good time for real estate at the moment, just from an outsider. I'm not in real estate, but
Yep.
you know, people say things like, "Oh, property sells themselves at the moment." You know, you don't need.
Yeah,
You're going to
sure.
be able to sell for a good coin anyway.
Yep.
But just looking ahead, like a broader viewpoint, like political things will happen, environmental things, all those things can impact on the industry quite quickly.
Yep.
How does an agency forecast for that and then protect their agents against potential long-term
Yeah,
loss of
sure.
income? Like, because you're your own
Yeah.
provider essentially,
Absolutely.
but you still are represented by how, like, what sort of safeguards are there? if any?
We're all subject to market forces, so you ride the wave, you know, and I've been through a lot of market cycles in 19 years, and I've been through post-GFC, I've been right in the thick of it all, I've done all that. The COVID market was insane, but there's this big perception that a lot of agents were earning a lot of money, but that's not the truth. A few agents earned a lot of money, and the rest of them couldn't get their hands on stock. So it was the toughest market to come in and try and get a foothold, because people coming to market would just call the guys who were already doing the work. Whereas the market we're entering now is much better conditions to actually get a start in the industry, because listings are a little bit easy to come by in terms of they're not all selling in 3 days with 70 offers, and days on market are blowing out a bit. The levels of stock are actually expanding. So I think we're at the beginnings of a bit of a downturn, and all you can do is control the controllables. You can't control how many calls you make. If you're a good agent and you apply yourself, you can make more money in a down market than in a productive market. The best operators do. So you do have, yes, there are market dynamics at play, but by how you apply yourself, you can control your income still. And Steve's really good at this, he works with us. He has a specific financial goal. He knows how many houses he has to sell to get that. He knows how many appraisals are required to get in order to get those listings. He knows how many phone calls are required to book that many appraisals. Therefore, when he rocks up to work each day, he's got one thing on his mind, one thing only: make that number of calls, and I will therefore have that financial outcome that I want. So he just knows his numbers, as the other agents do in their own way as well, but he's got it dialed in really well. So when he's on the phone, you get out of his way.
Do agencies have their own like data analytics, like, you know, like a business analyst, or is everyone their own little mini business analysts themselves?
Yeah, we've got tools through head office, which are probably, they're relatively in their infancy in terms of how they're delivering them. So I get good at analytics as a business owner, and there are analytics that exist for agents, but the inputs and the reading is probably not where it could be. It's up to much like Steve has done. He's worked it out on his own. He's cracked the code. He knows what it is. I'm not sure what you guys do.
There's a basic, seriously, there's a basic math. It really, like there's a set of numbers that have been around for a long period of time, which I knew about obviously because of my previous history. And when you're looking at it, as I came to Jared already prepared with my target area, I knew the numbers, knew the stats, knew what was turning over. And despite, like I've always had, I don't know if anyone listens to Matt Steinway or anyone like that, but there is always someone wanting to sell their house. Always. They're either death, divorce, change of circumstance, financial, whatever it may be. Okay, the number, the value of that property might change, but there's always someone wanting to sell. So you've got to get the volume through your behaviour and being the person of choice to maintain those stats. So really, whatever the market is, to be brutally honest, sometimes the failure is at your own discipline. Not being disciplined, not creating a brand or an awareness. Like as I said, and I've said this to Jared a number of times, I just focus on Watala and Curramundi, and I know the boss has cringed a couple of times, but it's starting to work for me now because people are talking about the signs that are going
Kind
on.
of created your own formula.
Yeah, so you just got to keep, as I say, there's always someone wanting to sell. Doesn't matter what sort of market it is, just the number of the sale is different.
Yeah.
So, would that be right, boss?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When markets slow down, that's when the good operators get better.
And you learn skills. You learn how to have tough conversations. You learn how to, and they're the real skills. Tough conversations. You know, when someone says my house is worth 1.2 million, I'm not selling it for anything less, and the market's telling them, not us, the market's telling them it's a million. So you just got to have a tough conversation.
and we're heading to a market like that now where we're having to have tough conversations, where it's all well and good, and we love our clients, they love us, they appoint us for a reason, but just took on a listing. I last sold for them in 2009 and had a wonderful relationship with them. They brought me in 15 years later to sell their next place, and we're overcooked by probably a couple $100 grand. And I have to sit down and tell them, guys, we did a CMA based on recent results in the first half of this year. The market has shifted, like it has shifted since the first quarter, and the appetite from the market is seriously diminished, price-wise. So we have to adjust accordingly. I said in the meeting on Tuesday that there's the order of when people find out what's happening in the market. The buyers know first, the agents find out second. We're always behind because we're just going on yesterday's results, but we find out from the buyers that the market has changed. And the third thing is the sellers, and that's our job to let them know, hey, I can tell you what you want to hear and sit here for 9 months and not sell, or we can sell today for what the market is telling us.
Yeah. And it's hard when you're competing against other agents who give inflated appraisals
Absolutely.
before you, because then you're coming in with the genuine, reasonable.
Yeah,
You know,
we come
and
across
how do
it
you
every day.
compete with someone
That's
who's
the number one way you don't get a listing is
Yeah.
is based on price feedback, and Lee has a great workaround for
I have a
that.
standard line. I'm not in the business of pricing, like valuing houses. It's not my job. Pay a value. They'll give you the valuation. My job is to market and sell your house for the best price I can get for it. So, and I know Jared probably also shudders sometimes, but that's how I'm about it. And I'm not in the business of collecting listings either. I'm in the business of selling houses. So I'm not going to take on something that's overpriced and try and hang on to it and be soft and not tell them the reality, so.
wasting everyone's time.
Absolutely.
Cool, good question. Anything else?
Got any book recommendations to increase our skills or anything like that?
Book recommendations. I would say majority of the good resources, I can highly recommend a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there's any sort of contemporary books. There's a lot of old school books which are probably a bit dated in real estate. But
I listen to a lot of like communication and sales books.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's-
Yep, sure. That stuff is good, absolutely.
Counselling?
Counselling.
Psychology.
Well, yeah, it does help because I mean,
I'm a big fan of the DISC profiles, the personality profiles, which helps you understand how to deal with different personality types.
Yep.
That's a good one.
There's a book called Surrounded by Idiots. Seriously, it's a bit like a disc profile. It's actually, it's a real good layman's one.
I mean, check out. We've got dozens of books out there on the bookshelf. You can take as much as you want with you. It's a free exchange. So grab some out of the shelf there on real estate. There's a podcast that I advocate for called $1 Million Agent. It's Tom Panos, John McGrath, and it's a bit old now, but it's just good stuff. I think you can build a hugely successful career off that podcast guidance alone. It's just a great podcast. I can recommend it.
Awesome.
It's about 120 odd episodes or something like that, but just dial them in and
Listen while you're
mate, you go for it.
I've got
Absolutely.
kids, so
Thank you.
we'll give you a call. Yeah, it'd be great to have a chat.
Yeah, great. Look at me.
Appreciate you.
Thanks
I'll
for
come
sticking
back
it out.
with you. I'll come back with my H tap.
They're always welcome. Yeah.
There you go, you can cover it all in the audience.
Any other questions? No, cool. Process from here, I think, is that I'll give you all the slides. So you've got all those. There's nothing secret or proprietary in there. You know, you can do what you want with them. So you've got a record of all the notes and things we've discussed. There probably will be a YouTube link on our YouTube channel because there's been a number of absentee people who live overseas or are currently overseas who want to see it. So maybe that will come out as well. It's any good, we'll check it first. And we will email that out to you because I think we should have your email address as well as what will be attached just a one-pager kind of like application form. So if you are interested in a role with Harcourts, just fill it out and send it to us and then we'll go from there. And I just have like a long-standing offer for anyone at all time that I'm always willing to have a coffee with anyone to talk about real estate if you want to have more of a deeper dive into your particular goals and what you're wanting to achieve and more about us that you wanted to ask in a different setting. So that's available for everyone. But you'll get an email with slides, maybe YouTube link, not sure yet, definitely the slides, and a little one-page Word document you can fill out in the document and email back if you'd like to keep the conversation going. Other than that, you can stay in touch in our socials, and we've done 90 minutes. I really appreciate your participation.
Thank you.
You're being here tonight. I'm really stoked that you took the time to come and join us. Cool.
Can I just say thank you very much? This was very informative. And
It was
a
good.
way of-
My
yeah.
biggest fear was that it'd be boring. I was worried it would be boring.
It
I was,
was really informative.
I did a, like one or two run throughs. I'm like, oh, this is not entertaining. This is just like, this kind of sucks. I was worried it was going to be boring.
No,
I'm
but
glad it
we
was sort of
need to
something
know,
else.
so,
Yeah,
to
cool,
make
cool.
a decision on whether it's for us or not.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, good. Thank you for that feedback. Yeah, good to know. All good. Cool. All right. So,
Thank you.
no worries. Thank you, guys. It's all good. Friday night. Thank you. Yeah, thanks, James. Thanks for coming.
So we'll just get an email about all this.
You will. If you don't get it in like a couple of days,
Yeah.
check in because it means something's gone wrong. But Sandy will be emailing.
Alright, cool. Thank you. Good
No worries.
Thank you.
Thank you. No worries.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you. No worries. Good to know. And who knows when that might pop up, so
Yes,
keep the
that's
conversation going.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
we'll do.
much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, it's not mate. Yeah, just come. All good. Thank you guys. Yeah, we'll do. See you again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Really nice to meet you. See you again. No, mate, that's all good. Thank you, though.
Do it right now. Did you ever see the old music? Leaving with me now, just waiting for Yeah, I mean, I actually answered it.
Yeah, sure.
I
No,
guess I'll leave it for you and tell me.
no worries. Well, good, thank you for that. And wait for the email.
Yeah.
Check in if you want to catch up on the stage. So, yeah. All good. Good on you.
I appreciate it.
All
Cheers.
good.